Hello everybody, it's me, the Real Local Maniac. I'm back again with another 8-Bit Wars. Now, as you can see, today I'll be playing the classic arcade game by Capcom, which is Ghouls and Ghosts. Now this is the follow-up to the other game, which was Ghosts and Goblins. And I think this game is set about 3 years after. Alright, so there we go. Arthur says goodbye. Just going out for, to get some cigarettes, so she's waiting. 3 years later, Arthur comes back. He probably went out drinking. That's what they did back in the good old days. And since then, the castle's been invaded by some demons there. The local villagers are running away. His missus is somewhat pissed off. Alright, so let's start this game up then. Let's rock and roll with this. Give myself a few credits. And then she's running out going, Arthur, where the hell have you been? But, she's been knocked out by that sort of lightning thing there. Big demon arrives and he kidnaps her. So, a typical sort of storyline. Baddie, kidnaps girl, good guy, gotta go and save her. Alright, so if you look at the graphics in this game, they do look vastly improved over the first game. Now, I'm not knocking the graphics on the first game because it was still a good looking game when you consider, the time it came out, which I think was about, 86, 87, something like that. And even though this game came out a few years later, it does look vastly better. Now, I love all the little details, like in the character animations. I love the way the baddies look. And look at that, Arthur's been knocked out into his little white bunch there. And I love the music in this game as well, it's phenomenal. Now, if this video does appear to be running a little bit slow, yep, that's because it is. I'm actually playing it and recording it, and that slows it down a hell of a lot. So guys, the proper version does run a lot faster than this. Look at all the voltage there as well. Yeah, that's what I was saying about the detail. Look at all the little details of the things in the background, the grass, the trees, because I want you to compare the graphics to the 8-bit computer versions. Some of them look alright, some of them don't look so good, but that's what the 8-Bit Wars is all about. Now, last time I did the 8-Bit Wars, the winner of that game was the ZX Spectrum. Now, will it be the same winner this time round? We'll have to find out, and let me, know if you agree or disagree. Alright, so I'm going to bring up something slightly different, completely off topic. Now, recently I found out someone's been trolling me, pretending to be me. They've got 2 accounts, and they've even got a rather attractive picture of me on their profile. Guys, this person isn't me. I've only got the one YouTube channel, alright? So, if this person does post on you, just ignore them. I mean, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not really fussed about them, basically. I obviously, I am somewhat flattered that they've got a picture of me. They've probably got a little bit of a man crush on me. I can understand why. But yeah, guys, don't sort of reply back to him and annoy him back as well. He only wants a little bit of love and attention. In reality, what he should really have is a kitten or something. But maybe his mum won't let him, I don't know. Alright, dude, this is a little shout out to you, to the guy that's trolling me. Thank you very much, I am flattered. This is the only time I'm going to reply back. If you want to pretend to be me because your life is that boring, I'm flattered, knock yourself out. Carry on pretending to be me. Alright, so anyway, that's the last thing I'll mention on that particular subject. Let's get back to this game then. Right, now this is a ZX Spectrum version. Now check out that music by Tim Foling, it is absolutely superb. I'm going to have a little bit of a drink now. Lovely jubbly. Now, I love the atmosphere that this music has, if that makes any sense. It does sound spooky, it sounds haunting, and it sounds really good on the ZX Spectrum. And I love that loading screen. Absolutely phenomenal, full of colour. Right, so let's see how good this version is. There we go. Now, this game, it's a lovely looking game here. Now, if you remember playing the old classic game, Ghosts and Goblins, this game looks a lot better because Ghosts and Goblins looked a little bit messy because there was too much colour on screen at the same time. like on the background, on the floor. Now this game, the way they've programmed it, I think it was programmed by Mike Folin. Now he's done an amazing job because he's kept the graphics simple. You know, the background's pretty much black and only uses colour there on the, you know, on the walls and the characters themselves. And you know, they're all yellow, but it doesn't matter. Now it does get a bit confusing when you walk against the wall like that, but all in all, the graphics are nicely drawn, nicely animated there, and they look very similar to their arcade counterpart. And what I do love about this game is the controls. Now, I'm going to basically just go out there on a limb and say this is probably feels a lot more like the arcade control-wise. It feels a lot more fluid. When you jump, it feels like you're in complete total control. Now, it doesn't have music while you're playing, which is a shame. Now, guys, I will be doing a random rambling video called 8-Bit Wars, and I just basically want to explain the reason why I do my 8-Bit Wars and what the 8-Bit Wars is all about and what it really means to me. I mean, I just want to say I love all 8-bit systems pretty much exactly the same, the Speccy, the Amstrad and the Commodore 64. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in my next random rambling videos. Also guys, I've got loads more videos lined up this month because it's Halloween on October the 31st. So I've got Ghosts and Goblins, the arcade game. I've got some games on the Master System. I've got 16-Bit Wars is coming back as well. I've got a couple of those lined up. I've got some games on the Game Boy. So yeah, you know, got loads of videos to keep you guys sort of entertained for this Halloween. Oh, I love this game. This game's phenomenal. Just having a little bit of a drink there. Right, so as arcade ports go, I wouldn't say this is the greatest arcade port on the spectrum, but you know, it feels like the arcade game, and it's a nice game. It's bloody rock hard as well. Back in the olden days, I got pretty far in this. Okie dokie, now this is Ghouls and Ghosts on the Amstrad. Now the version I had it on was the Amstrad CPC 464. Well, actually that was the machine I actually had. And again, the music's done by Tim Folin. That sounds amazing. Ooh, someone's texting me. Let's have a look. Who's that? Ooh, it's Dean. Yep. Anyway. Yes, Dean's text me. That's my little shout out to Dean. Right, this is the Amstrad version here. And as you can see, basically, it's got a smaller playing area, it's got no sound or music in the background. The Speccy didn't have any sound, but this is probably the worst out of all the versions. Now the reason why I don't like this version in the slightest, I was really pissed off when I got it, was because it's difficult. And it's not that the game is overly difficult like the other versions, it's the way it's programmed. Now, in the other versions, whenever a zombie was coming out the ground, you could see the ground rumbling a little bit, you could see where they were coming from, and in this version, you don't see that at all, and that makes this game impossibly hard. It's like, okay, now that, I knew he was coming out there, but sometimes you're walking along and they just appear right underneath you, you don't see the ground moving. And the other thing about this game is the playing area is probably the smallest in all the playing area. Now, I don't mind the colour scheme too much because I think it looks pretty nice there. You can see what's going on when you're climbing up, you know, near the wall and the ladder. But this game does feel pretty much the most emptiest there. You get a lot less zombies on screen at the same time, and the animation on Arthur himself is fantastic. It's got some nice little sound effects, you know, very similar to the Spectrum. But like I said, the way it was programmed, it wasn't the best. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this Amstrad version, and I was really let down by that. Guys, another thing I want to quickly mention is I recently recorded another podcast, which is 1HMPS Retro. And guys, if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. I had two other guests with me, two fantastic guests. Well, not guests, hosts. One of them was Otito72, and the other guy was Glenn 83100, and we did an amazing job. Well, I thought we did an amazing job on that podcast, and we talked about loads of retro games, so you can check it out on my site. Anyway, I'm not going to plug anything else more. I'm going to just talk about the 8-Bit Wars now. Now, this is Ghouls and Ghosts on the Commodore 64. With most Commodore 64 games, you get to choose the music or the sound effects. Now, on that title screen there was some nice sounding music, but I had to skip past it because of the YouTube time limit. Now I know, I can do 15 minutes now, but I find 15 minutes is a little bit long to do a video. I like to try and keep it around, 12 or 13 minutes. Right, so first thing I'm going to mention is about this game is the music. Now, the music sounds completely different to all the other versions out there. The arcade, the 8-bit computers, the 16-bit computers, consoles. Now, it does sound really good, the music, but the beginning bit of this music I don't think goes very well with its game. It really doesn't. There's a little bit later on, if I can get far enough, I'll show you what the music sounds like. This bit here fits in well with the music. It's just the intro bit didn't quite sound right. Now, I'm not knocking this music. I think it's absolutely fantastic, but I don't think it's as good as the music on the original Commodore 64 version, which was just phenomenal. It's probably one of my best in-game music on any game. Now, again, like I said, guys, I don't dislike this music. I think the music is fantastic. Alright, let's talk about the graphics. Now, the graphics are absolutely lovely. They're a lot smaller than the other versions here, like the wall there. But it does feel like you're playing the arcade game. There's a tree like there was in the arcade game there. The only thing I don't really like about this game, I don't think it's much of an issue, but just since I've been playing this, I don't think it controls as well as the Speccy version. The Speccy version feels like it controls more like the arcade game, but it's not a big issue because all in all, this is absolutely fantastic conversion. It really does feel like you've got an actual arcade machine, at home. Now, when I first played this, I loved it. It's just, you got all the colour there, which was lacking from the Spectrum version. You got that amazing music, which the other, 8-bit versions didn't have. And it does look like a really scaled down version of the arcade game, and that's one of the things that I still love about, these 8-bit ports. How the hell they managed to do it. How to get an arcade game and put it into an 8-bit computer, it still amazes me. And guys, like I said, I will talk more about that on my 8 sort of random ramblings 8-bit wars, where I'll tell you why what I love about doing these videos. But guys, I'm going to choose a winner now. Please feel free to let me know whether you agree or disagree with my decision. Now, last time round I chose a Spectrum version, but I've been playing this, all 3 different versions a lot more now. And you know what? The Amstrad version is not going to win. That was just a really awful conversion. I'm going to come out and say it. The Commodore 64 is the winner. And the reason why I've chosen the Commodore 64 as the winner is because it looks amazing, it sounds amazing, their playability is still there. Fair enough, it may not control as good as the Speccy version. And don't get me wrong, I love the Speccy version. It's a great game. But overall, I think the Commodore 64 is just a slightly better game. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.